Hi, everyone. It's Justin here, Voices for Voices. Thank you so much for joining us on today's show. We're grateful to have you with us on this and our over 430 episodes in our catalog and our portfolio of the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. Thank you so much for being with us. You can do us a big favor, give us a big thumbs up, like, follow, subscribe, share. Those are all free things to do. And if you can do this would also be fantastic. If you can reach out to 25 of your uh, contacts in your phone and let them know about the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. We're number three only to the Joe Rogan Experience and the Dan Bongino show. So we're quickly rising, and we're just very grateful to be where we're at with a small staff, but we have big messages and helping people uh, help us reach people and help people in over 300 countries. We're over 100 countries and over 3,000 cities. We're already over 1,000 cities. And then the huge overarching goal is to reach and help at least 3 billion people over the course of my lifetime and beyond. So, welcome, whether you're here in the United States or you're somewhere outside the United States, across the world. Thank you so much for being with us today. So, today's show, we're going to be talking a little bit about the Olympics. We had a previous show about the Olympics, but this one is a little bit different. This this really gets to the heart of com, com, competition. It gets to the heart of. Uh, all right, let's just jump in. I need to just say it. Uh, so if you're an athlete, you go to the Olympics. That means you and others, even if you don't make it to the Olympics, you've poured your heart and soul and your whole being into trying to make it to the Olympics over the course of years and hours and hours and hours of training. And then you make it to the Olympics to compete against the best in the world based off of qualifications. And then you win a medal and you are asked questions and interviews. And this is really kind of a two-parter here we're going to talk about. So you're asked questions, so you're in the interviews. So that's nothing new. Now, what you say or what a person may say, that's what we're talking about. Okay, we're not here to judge. We're just here to bring up conversational pieces that might resonate with individuals. The first is you bring up you're being interviewed, and I say you, I don't mean you specifically. Like the individuals who made it to the Olympics, earned a medal, maybe didn't earn a medal, maybe just about participating and making it. And they're being asked questions about how does it feel to be an Olympian, to represent your country. And the first thing that comes up, and this is just my opinion, this is our opinion. You know, thanking God should be one of the first things that is said when somebody asks questions. You know, we've seen Drake May from the New England Patriots, although they lost the Super Bowl, still gave gave the glory to God for making it to the Super Bowl, for just making it in general. And then the winning coach from the Seattle Seahawks and American Football League, uh, head coach, American football, when he was being interviewed after the Super Bowl, that's what he said. He said, God put me here to do this thing, and I'm doing this, and I did this, and I'm going to continue. Those are big things. So I would juxtapose, which basically just means alternatively, we have the Olympics, and we have people being asked questions. And the first thing that comes to mind is somebody's agenda, meaning the athlete has an agenda, what they want to talk about. Now, I'm not saying you can't talk and share um, about what just occurred, whether that was earning a medal or not, or just being an Olympian. Being an Olympian this year, I think it really struck me more than others of how much work and how much practice goes into being an Olympian. For instance, I was watching, I was flipping the channels, and these are individuals that already made it to the Olympics. And so not every channel is a specific event. Some of it is practice. And so figure skating was uh, one of the events being practiced. For what I saw, it was individuals that were because they can do couples uh, and that. And so what I saw were individuals, and they were going through their routines over and over and over and over again. So it's not like those individuals made it to the Olympics and then they're like, all right, I'm here. And then I do my event. Yeah, that's what it looks like to the world, to the general public and dignitaries, because that's usually what we just see on TV or we hear on the radio. So that caught me off guard just a little bit, because I didn't realize, I thought that somebody qualifies to make it to the Olympics. I knew there was probably some practicing going on, but I actually got to see it this time. So I have a whole new perspective on that, of how much work that goes into it. So let's get back to let's go back to the interview room, and questions are being asked of how does it feel, and the first thing comes to mind is an athlete's agenda. Now, I'm not saying we can't talk about it. That's not at all what I'm saying. That would be the opposite of Voices for Voices. What I'm saying and what we're recommending is the reason that you're on, not you, but you get where I'm going. The reason why that individual is being asked those questions at the Olympics is for the work that they've done for the event or events. So they could be in one event, they could be in many events. So it's that hard work that got them there. And so when they're being asked a question, it should have everything to do with that event, the preparation, uh, how it felt to finally make it. And then individuals decide to toss in politics, toss in their own agendas on other areas. Again, I'm not against any of that, but there's a time and a place. I was always, not that I did it correct, because I've made lots of mistakes, and well, we're human. But I mean, I remember growing up and just being taught like, what are you working on? It's like growing up and going to school and uh, getting 100% on an exam, and the next best highest grade was like an 80%. And so maybe the teacher, maybe the professor, maybe somebody asks, like, how'd you do it? Like, is there something you could share with the class? And I'm not going to go and just start talking about my agenda about politics and all that. Doesn't make sense. I'm going to talk about how, not how I got 100%, but how I performed at the level that I did or that you did. And a lot of that's probably going to have to do with, well, I studied and I did this and I did that. You're not going to bring up politics and other social issues to use your platform for that. And I read and saw a post by one of our past guests, Oksana Baiul, gold medalist figure skating, and that was what she brought up. She said the reason you're actually at that interview table or you're on that podium has very little at that moment to do with politics or other issues. That all can come later. That all can come later. But if an event like skiing or figure skating, I mean, if the event is mental health, well, of course you're going to talk about mental health. If the event is political science or, debating on, political topics or other social issues, that's one thing. Of course, you're going to talk about those issues, those topics. That just is bonkers to think that you wouldn't in that case. However, when you or I are at an event or the Olympics, and the first thing that comes out of our mouth is, well, I'm not really sure how I feel about wearing this flag on my jacket, on my clothing, or to represent this country, or to bring up social issues. You didn't get there because of social issues. Did they play a part? Maybe. Not saying they didn't play a part, but there's a time and a place. There's a time and a place. And that's the part that we're really trying to just share, that this is next level, okay? So a lot of what we talk about it's all next level, but this is just another half a level above that. So a lot of what we talk about is next level, is we're bringing in things that have helped us and or hurt us, and and we're trying to make amends and talk about this topic and that topic. But we're about mental health. Voices for Voices is about mental health. So if I get asked a question, I'm most likely going to bring up mental health because that's what I'm doing. That's what we're doing. Whether it's a book, whether it's a TV show, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a movie, whether it's a song, whatever it may be, I'm probably going to bring up mental health because that's what I'm known for. That's what Voices for Voices is known for. And if people aren't sure, well, that's what Voices for Voices is known for. The main foundation is mental health, mental illness. Full stop. So it makes sense in those cases to share and talk about mental health, mental illness. How'd you get started? Why'd you get started? It's all going to reverberate and it's all going to go back to mental health. Now, at the Olympics, when the whole reason that you're even being asked a question instead of sitting at home, like 99.99999% of people that you qualified against, and you're going to sit or stand and talk about the politics and social issues. How about just talking about making it to the Olympics? How about talking about how your practice has gone, or how your event has gone? You know, if it's a team sport, if it's an individual sport, it makes sense to talk about those things. But to bring up politics, like, well, I'm not really sure how I feel. That's okay. A lot of us don't know how we feel about certain things, but I'd also add in who paid for your flights, who paid for your hotel, who paid for your food. It's the country. And I bring this up, and this is, I think, one of the reasons why we're so popular is across the world. And that is, I've been to a lot of countries, I've been to a lot of different areas across the world. And every single country, territory, city I've been to, there's a sense of happiness, of being, of locals being a part of that community or that country. Doesn't mean they have to agree with things politically and social agendas and all. Doesn't mean that. Doesn't mean that they can't have thoughts and ideas. Not at all. At the end of the day, though, they're representing their home country, their home city, their home state, territory, province. And so when we're talking about the Olympics and these athletes who want to use, this pedestal and spout off about things that like they didn't get to the Olympics because they were experts in politics and experts in social issues. They got there because of how well and how they competed and how they qualified for a particular event or events. And so I think it's important for all of us to think about that. I know most of us I'll speak for myself. I'm not going to speak for anybody else. I'm probably never going to make it to an Olympics. Okay. But if I'm asked a question, if I'm being interviewed, as I have been hundreds of times, a lot of what I'm going to talk about is mental health. And that's because that's what's really just saved me. God saved me for some reason. And that's what we're doing. We're talking, we're sharing. We're not saying you can't have a voice about political issues, social issues. But I go back to a theme of there's a time and there's a place when you're at the Olympics because you made it all the way through qualifications for an event or many events. And when you're being asked questions, you answer based off of, again, the practice, how happy you are to be afforded the opportunity to compete at the Olympics. You don't have to say a whole lot. Nobody says you have to go on and on and on and on and on. If you do that, you just got to make sure what you're saying. And this is also a public relations issue that we're talking about. We talk about the topic that's being like why we're here. I'm not talking like why God has us here. I'm talking like why am I sitting at this table being asked questions in Milan, Italy, Cortina, Italy, at the 2026 Winter Olympics? Why am I here? Is it because again, I'm an expert in politics, and so that's what this show's about. Be gracious, show some gratitude for the country that you're representing. If you want to talk about other things, talk about other things at other times. You want to talk about social issues? And mental health can be huge. You can touch on it, but you don't have to get into the whole thing and say, hey, there's more to come. I'm going to be sharing more on areas that I feel help me at a different time. It you're there. These athletes are coached to on how to speak publicly. And like Oksana Baiul said, I agree with the reason you're at the Olympics as an athlete is because of your athletic ability, and you're there to represent a country. So if you're not happy representing a particular country, then move to a different country. Then if it's that big of a if it's that big of a deal that you got to bring it up, and you just can't wait to say your bit, then move. Very similar to shows. If you don't like a show, turn on a different one. You don't like a movie, turn on a different one. You don't like the country that you're living in, move to a different country. We love you still the same. We still give you the opportunity to share your voice. But at that very moment when you're being interviewed at the Olympics, after an event, we talk about the event. We talk about representing whichever country we're representing. And if we don't think we don't feel that way, then again, move somewhere where you're happier. We want people to be happy. We don't want people to be sad. We don't want people to be upset, because all that's doing is rallying up people. And Voices for Voices, as you know, unites people. We bring people together. Togetherness. We don't divide. So if you're going to use a stage that big at the Olympics, it should be about uniting. Countries that don't get along, they get along for the most part at the Olympic Games. Because it's not about the politics at the games. It's about performing. That's what they're there for. They're there to perform in their events or event, and they're representing their country. If they don't like that country, then they have all the things that they don't like, then they can move. So thank you, Oksana, for that quote. Uh, it's a heavy topic to talk about. On the surface, it seems easy, but it's really a hard topic to really go after. But it is a topic, uh, nonetheless, and so that's why we felt and feel the importance of doing a show on it. So thank you for joining us. If you're able to, give us a big thumbs up, like, follow, subscribe, share, reach out to 25 contacts in your phone, share the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast with them. Let them know over 430 episodes. There's at least 30 or 40 or 50 episodes, at least, that you and your contacts and your social media following will find enjoyable. And if you're able to, we are a 501c3 nonprofit charity. You can donate all your donations in the United States. You'll have to check your own country's stance on donating to charities. I just don't know, because we have so many countries that are following us. I just don't know every single country's what their code is. But in the United States, we're able to, if we donate, all of your donations are 100% tax deductible federally. If you're able to, you can head on over to lovevoices.org, lovevoices.org, lovevoices.org. That's spelled out LOVEVOICES.org. We thank you for being with us. If this is your first show or you've been with us from the beginning, we're sending support, love your way. You don't have to be a believer like we are, but we're still going to send good vibes your way. Can never have too many good vibes. And so I'm Justin Allen Hayes, Voices for Voices. Let's celebrate all the voices in the right arenas. And let's be a voice for not only ourselves, but somebody else in need. Take care. We love you.